Watopian Weekly
Let's talk about Zwift.
But you always talk about Zwift. Season 3.
Welcome to Watopian Weekly, Season 3, Episode 8, with the podcast for Zwifters, cyclists, and everyone else. Each week we are here to discuss all things Zwift, life, and beyond. My name is Dustin, and today with me, star of Team NL, here to teach us all the different Dutch words, like stroopwafel. Did I get it right? Almost. Yeah, and many other Dutch words. You know, I gotta stop doing this while I'm trying to do this. Anyway, here she is, everybody, Gina! Woo, Gina! Welcome, Gina. How are you?
Thanks, Dustin. I will make it, I can't make it every week on a podcast, but
Sure.
I'm going to try and bring a new word for you each week as of now.
I like
very
that.
much unprepared for this one, but I will think of something during the episode.
All right. Yes. This will be great. And then Josh can teach us a Michigan word, and Tim can teach us an Iowa word, and then I'll teach you a Minnesota word, which mine is going to be oofda. All right, here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Michigan, the guy that was so excited to have Tim on because he's got so many questions about numbers and rankings and all that stuff. From Grand Rapids, Michigan, Josh. All right, Josh, how are you?
Doing well. I appreciate that you made this one a lot easier on yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying to because I know, and I'm trying to be expedient with our time here too because we have a lot to get through. So, and ladies and gentlemen, here he is, all the way from Iowa, which is in the same time zone as Minnesota. One of our most anticipated guests here, with lots of things to talk about. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm just excited. All right, I've had too much coffee. I'm excited. I've had waffles. Here he is, Tim Hanson from Zwift Racing App. Woo!
Cheers.
Woo! All right. Yes. So Tim, thank you so much for being here. Gina and Josh, thank you so much for being here too. This is awesome. I'm excited. I don't know if you can tell. I'm excited. So Tim, thank you for being here and everything too. This is awesome. I mean, seriously.
Of course.
And when I was looking at, preparing for this episode, looking at this like all the stuff on like Zwift Insider as I often do, like all the stuff that's been coming out with Zwift Racing Score. It's funny. Just some quick stats. When they went through the Zwift Racing Score a couple. I think it was last week. I think Eric Schlange did an episode or a post about it.
Deep dive.
Yep. Yeah, he did one, and he had a lot of responses on that one. On the latest one, on the 10th, there's over 150 comments on it. This is a big deal for a lot of people. So
It is.
yeah, so this is going to be cool. I can't wait to get into this. So but before we do all that, let's do our weekly catch up here. So why don't we start? Gina, why don't you start us off here? What have you been doing this week, and what are you looking forward to next week?
So I bought a new saddle.
Oh,
I
that's good.
switched it on Thursday before I did the TTT. And I very much regret doing so right now. Apparently, it was not the saddle for me. I immediately bought the more expensive one that I have on my outdoor bikes as well, that I know is tested and proven to be good for my lady parts. But that also means that next week I'm mostly looking forward to this healing up and getting back on the bike again.
Yeah. What and I did the exact same thing. I was successful with mine though, but I bought I went with the same one. I did the same saddle I have on my outdoor bike, and I went with the more expensive one for some reason, which is silly because I really should swap them, but I have my bike set up like my saddle's in the perfect position on my outdoor bike, and I don't want to mess that up by taking off the old one and putting on the new one. You know what I mean? So I don't know. So I just kept on the heavier one on there and then put the new one on the other bike. Anyway, but what saddle did you get that we should all avoid?
It was oh God, I forgot. I don't know. It's coming
It's
over
forgettable anyway.
Marketplace,
It's forgettable
I
anyway.
Yeah.
It's coming on marketplace, not very in the very near future, let's say.
Ooh,
But
all right.
I have a specialized Mimic Power Comp Women edition on my outdoor bike, and I had a bike fit recently, and they told me to go a little bit narrower, so I went from 164 to 155 on the outdoor bike.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for them to get another one in. Because then I have the same one on my road bike and on my gravel bike.
Mhm.
But I was like, yeah, no, wait for Christmas to buy the more expensive one,
Yeah.
or get somebody else to buy me the more expensive one, obviously. But no, well, after Thursday, it was the first thing I did when I realized it wasn't good at all.
So we should. Are you going to autograph it? Because this should actually be more expensive now, because you should autograph your saddle and put on there from Watopian Weekly and everything. We should advertise it on here.
Sure, let's make a proper what's it called, where people can bid on it.
Oh yeah, we'll put on eBay. There you go.
Let's
Yes.
make a good auction out of it.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Like-
Then the charity will be right to Gina's van charity, so we can get her van or her camper van working again.
Well, it's up and running now.
Okay.
Just the weather is crap now, but I'm already thinking about my goals for next gravel season. So
that's awesome. Well, and then let's go on to Tim, and then we'll just go on in a clockwise fashion on my screen. Sorry about that, Josh. So Josh will be last, but Tim, what have you been doing this week?
So I have 3 kids, and I currently have 2 or 3 jobs, depending on how you do it. So
Yeah.
that's mostly been what I've been working on. Not riding as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
I built a mailbox yesterday, so that's a thing.
Wow. And okay,
yeah.
can we go to the mailbox? Because I have to redo my mailbox, because somehow I'm not really sure exactly what happened, but my mailbox is tilted, and then I got one of those notes from the USPS that said
You got some people with baseball bats coming by, knocking your mailbox out.
or just cars with big bumpers. But that happens too. But how did you sink your mailbox into the ground? What did you do for that?
Cement.
Oh, you use cement. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Because they have that quick stuff. I was going to use that quick stuff. I don't know if that's good.
Yeah, I used the quick cement.
Okay.
It was almost too quick. It was an opportunity for my kids to, put a handprint on something.
Yeah.
And we ate lunch, came out after lunch, and it was already too hard for them to do it. So bit of a dad fail.
Yeah, that's all right. Do another one. Well, okay.
Yeah, sure.
So you've been doing that. Sorry to interrupt you with that. I'm just excited because I'm so excited. All right, I'll stop being excited. Go ahead, Tim. And then what else you've been doing? You've been making mailboxes and everything. That's great.
Yeah. I was mentioning it's like DIY season, so
Yeah.
just trying to get through some projects before the winter really sets in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when my training will really start, because then I don't have anything else to do because it's too cold to do anything outside. Might as well get down on the pancake.
Yeah.
But I did just I got the Zwift ride this week, so I haven't even ridden it yet.
Oh wow.
So
eagerly waiting a review of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we currently, my wife and I have 2 Zwift setups in our basement workout room, and so in an effort to see if we could eliminate that and just have one to make more room, we're going to try this out.
Yeah, we did
But the
exact
saddle
same
thing that Gina brought up has me a little concerned.
Yeah.
If we can find a saddle that both of us can be comfortable on. But we'll see.
Yeah,
Like with getting the standard width, probably the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you could, because I thought about this too, because my wife and I share a kicker bike for the same exact reason, to have more room here, because we had 2 setups and it there's just not enough room for everything. So anyway, and so she and I are, I guess, have the same size butt. I don't know, but yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't want to talk about it too much because she won't like that. My butt either. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But anyway, but we had to do that and find a saddle that works for both of us. But I was thinking about that too, like, because I was gonna maybe buy another seat post and then just have like my saddle on it and then have her saddle on it, and just put it in there. But I thought that might be overkill, and it turns out that everything's okay. Do you think that you'll be able to buy another seat post for the Zwift ride? If that was, is it a standard size?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
what
if
I
they
was
could
thinking
sell,
about straight away as well, because you don't want to like take off the saddle every single time, but a
Right.
seat post is
No.
actually quite easy to switch
Right.
around.
Yeah.
yeah. I should ask if they have. They probably don't. That would be cool if you could buy just an extra seat post
Right.
Yeah.
with all the markings on. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Otherwise,
One more thing to be quick release.
yeah. Right.
yeah.
That's true. Otherwise,
It is
it's
pretty slick.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about that too. That's gonna be awesome.
It does look super slick too.
Yeah, the virtual shifting. Have you had virtual shifting before?
Yeah, yep. So I bought the, what do you call it? Kicker Core Zwift one in February or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm used to that.
Yeah.
Hopefully not getting too many free watts.
I'm wishing that there will be a function where you can use the gearing in other apps as well.
Mhm.
But well, since this one is very much Zwift oriented, I don't think it will come soon. But for us that occasionally ride on my Whoosh, for instance, for
Sure.
some qualifications for the UCI thingies,
Yeah.
I think it's not a good option to buy a Zwift ride. Although I love it, like the look
Yeah.
of it and the
Yeah,
idea of it.
I would say that if anybody was just getting into Zwift for the first time and now this is their favorite podcast, hopefully, but but besides that, I would say Zwift Ride is like the way to go. That is awesome, and it's such a good deal too. I mean,
Yeah.
I spent
Less faff dealing with taking your bike on and off the trainer. It's a good all-in-one
Yeah.
option for those that maybe don't want to deal with putting their bike on and
Yeah.
off the trainer, and it's just a lot easier to have one dedicated setup that you don't have to mess with.
Yeah.
My road bike is the Canyon Ultimate, and I think I've done like thousands of kilometers of Zwift on it before I saw that Canyon announced that it didn't recommend that frame to be used on an indoor trainer. So I was like, oh boy. All right. Well, yeah, I need to really think about finding like just a cheap frame to put on there. So
Yeah.
that problem solved as well.
Yeah.
My
Why
road
didn't
bike
they
can
want?
sit on the wall,
Yeah.
be nice and safe.
Why didn't they want to do that? Is too much stress or something in the frame, or?
It must be, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably
But-
just them covering their ass.
Yeah.
Put
yeah,
down too many watts.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so much anymore.
All the way up to Diamond Plus. That's right. Well,
Mhm.
well. Speaking of high rankings on the Zwift Racing app, let's talk over here with Josh. What have you been doing, man? He's all the way up. He's up. You're all the way up to platinum now, or almost sapphire. Right?
I'm like mid amethyst.
Mid amethyst.
I trying to make my way up to sapphire, but kind of encountering a little bit of roadblock along the way. So big into ladder racing, as I'm sure everyone knows at this point. So my week consisted of getting cooked on 2 different ladder races, finishing bottom half in both of those. So it really wasn't a good week for Zwift racing, but I mean, always have fun with those, and they're always super great. The Zwift Racing App score and the Velo ratings always pair very nicely with everyone in that ladder series, so it's always good. But yeah, not really a good week results wise if I want to make it up to sapphire, but still had fun doing it.
Yeah, should we go through everyone's Zwift Racing Score, or not Zwift? We should do our Zwift Racing Score and our later, but how about our Zwift Racing App scores? Does
Well,
everybody know theirs?
I know I'm
I know
amethyst,
mine.
Gina's platinum, Dustin's gold.
I'm gold. Yeah, Tim is like double diamond encrusted.
Yeah,
ruby.
I'm whatever I want to be.
Yeah.
No, I think I am right at the gold platinum threshold at the moment.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking about all this stuff too, because this is I don't know, I am a little bit of I like numbers and stuff too. I don't understand them all, but I like how they change things and stuff too. Anyway, so well, that's great. So yeah, Josh, and the whole ladder thing, Josh has convinced me, I think, to be joining the ladder league again.
I've convinced you to rejoin.
Rejoin, right? Because I just the fall is a hard time for me because I have football and stuff I have to do. That I'm not playing it. I'm playing for the football, but anyway, as a music teacher. But anyway, so we've got that, and that's almost wrapping up here soon too. But yeah, okay. Woo! All right. Well, welcome everybody again. Thank you so much for being here and for doing this. I should not have 2 cups of coffee before this. I need to go outside and run around, but that's okay. I'm fine. Let's pivot a little bit to some of our main talking points here. Which the first thing I want to talk about is Tour of Watopia. Have you guys been taking part of the Tour of Watopia at all?
I have not yet, but I do hope to. I do hope to get a couple of stages in.
Oh yeah. It's the best time. It's a double XP, which I'm kind of sad about because I'm at level 69, which I was really hoping that, we were going to have Bill and Ted up there saying, 69, dude, but that didn't happen. That's okay. And but we were happy to have, I was happy to go through that, but I'm going through it because it's double XP right now. So double XP and extra long power ups. So you get a lot of.
What are you close to? The squirrel hat, then, I think.
Yeah, level 70. Is that what happens at 70?
I think it's 70, 71, something like that.
71,
So,
72?
yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, you're dangerously close to the
a
squirrel hat.
I thought, oh well, that's really close. Then I'm gonna have to have the squirrel hat on all the time. Because what's your guys' take on the people wearing their jerseys at what level they are? What do you think about that?
I mean, I I still prefer the team jersey more than anything else. And Tim, I'm sure you
Yeah.
prefer the dirt jersey over the level jersey. Is that fair to
I
say?
actually I wear the beta jersey usually as a bit of a flex to my
Ah,
old rider ID.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we should. Does the Zwift numbers, your Zwift ID number, does that correlate exactly to like how when you signed on and everything? I wonder, or is that just a random
Yeah.
number? Oh,
No, that's the lower the number, the older the account.
wow.
yeah.
I'm like,
Seen a couple people in the ladder series with just 2 digits. So yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in
Oh
the 11.
geez.
I'm in the 11,000s, so that's all right. But I was an early adopter as well. But so the beta jersey, that's awesome. And then what about for the well, I don't know. I don't mind the new jerseys and stuff, or the jerseys that say that what number you are and stuff like that. I usually end up riding the team jersey as well. But then you end up in the Tour of Watopia. It's always the Tour of Watopia jersey, which is cool too. Yeah, I definitely want to get that hat, that trucker hat that they have. Have you seen that? Like what everyone's wearing in like the
No.
first stage. It's like
No, I haven't seen that one.
it's like total 90s. It
Now I have
reminds
to
me
look
of
this up.
it reminds me of like the Raiders hats from like the 90s, if you guys remember that. Like it would just like say Oakland Raiders and then and a big patch on the front, like a big starter cap, you know what I mean? And anyway, it says Watopia, Tour of Watopia on there. Anyway,
Oh, okay. I see it here.
yeah,
Yeah,
I want that.
nice looking.
I would like to have that personally, but and just walk around with that with a huge thing, like it's like a in front of your head. Anyway, okay, sorry. And then we also have the Tour of Watopia is going on right now, and that's going to be a fantastic. There's new roads and everything in stage 5, which is going to be really cool too. I'm excited for that. And then so that's going to be great. And then let's keep going. FRR Tour Britannia is coming up as well. So we're just getting done with Tour France, and then Tour Britannia registration is open now. We're recording this on the 20th of October. Registration is open now, and November 1st is the first race, the first stage of that. Tim, have you done much of these? I know you've been working with Rich and Parky about these scorings and everything. But have you done
Yeah,
any of the stages?
I've never done one completely. It's always a really hard ask to ride that many days in a row for me.
Yeah.
Particularly at the same time. Like my available time shifts throughout the week,
Right.
depending on what's going on. But I would like to.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. It's like I remember the first one that I attempted to do all the way. Like I got sick on like the 3rd stage just because I was, you're beat down so much, and then I like had everything laid out and stuff, and like I had the permission from my wife, and and stuff, and then
Yeah,
just,
it's a lot of coordination to
Mhm.
do that. I mean, like, a lot of time spent on the trainer, a lot
Yeah.
of extra calories consumed to
Yeah.
for all the ones burned, and like I said, a lot of time spent. So yeah, there's more to it than just riding and trying your best to recover.
Yeah, and it is incredible, absolutely incredible. And then each stage is almost, I mean, at least for me, is like at least 90 minutes, at least, just because I'm a little bit slower. but yeah, they're
Nah,
intense.
don't sell yourself short, but
Yeah, they're 85 minutes. Yeah. No.
89 minutes is the target. Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
But
hey, that is a perfect pivot here to talk about the Zwift Racing Score and Zwift Racing app. Now, so Tim, I know we have longtime listeners that know about the last time you were on and everything about. And thank you for coming back. I'm glad we didn't alienate you before. But
No.
but thank you for coming and talking about this again. But would you give listeners, perhaps some new listeners, those ones that just bought the Zwift ride and then just discovered our podcast, would you give them maybe just the elevator pitch about what Zwift Racing app is and how people can use it and how it will make their lives better in every sense of the word?
Wow, okay, that's a lot to unpack.
Okay.
But yes, so the app itself is a ELO-based, or custom ELO-based uh, algorithm implementation that assigns you a score based on your power at 5 minutes using a custom formula. That's kind of a modified version of compound score. It's kind of the seeding algorithm. And then from there, after every result you do, it evaluates what score you got. So it has like a scoring mechanism. And then it calculates your expected score based on the people that you raced against. And then the delta between those two things decides how much change to make to your rating, either up or down. There's a lot more nuance, a lot of Zwift specific stuff in there, a lot of, anti-tanking mechanisms and other things. But generally that's elevator pitch. So yeah, the intention is that it will group you with people of a similar fitness level. So you might be the most climby person in the group with the kind of weaker sprints, or you might be the sprinter person in the group with a weaker aerobic capacity. So trying to deliver kind of dynamic pens where it's not just a sit and sprint.
Yeah. And that would be I like the just a sit and sprint thing, because that I would say that's kind of what a lot of the ZRL races sometimes end up being. You're just in for the whole time, and then the last I don't know, meter or something, not meter, kilometer, you're really gonna sprint as hard as you can.
That's a byproduct of the existing categorization system, and
and that's probably maybe a good question to ask for those listeners who kind of get tripped up on the various scoring and categorization methods. We obviously have ZRAP, we have Zwift Racing Score, we have Zwift category enforcement. So maybe Tim, with your involvement and expertise, you can maybe explain what each of those are for the listeners.
Yeah, so the existing, what ZRL is still using, and what we had basically for years until recently, the regular pace group based category enforcement is just based on your 20-minute, mostly based on your 20-minute watts per kilo. So what ends up happening is that is bounding aerobic capacity, but not binding anaerobic capacity. So what tends to happen is the people that are do best are the people with aerobic capacity just below the limit, and then the highest anaerobic capacity. So that is what leads to all of these sit and sprint sort of races, and not a lot of dynamism attacks and things like that, because people just figure everyone here that's I'm fighting for the podium with has about the same aerobic fitness as me, so I'm just going to sit and wait and then use my hopefully superior sprint at the end. So the Zwift Racing app is an effort to kind of mix that up a bit. So generally, if you look at the pens on like a ladder race or DRS when that was still a thing, hopefully will be a thing again soon.
Yeah.
Or FRR is when you use the Velo categorization, you'll find that there's a bit more dynamism to who you're racing against. You might be the all-rounder person who's not the best sprinter, but also better aerobically than the best sprinters. So then it kind of encourages people to try some different strategy and tactics. And then Zwift Racing Score is attempting to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gina, you did a lot of those DRS races, and I know Josh and I did too. And how did you find those versus, say, the regular category systems?
Oh, I find them super interesting. We didn't have enough ladies to do a female B team last ZRL, and I was racing mixed B, which was obviously very, very challenging. And then I also did DRS in my fellow score mixed, which was a way better experience because I could really, like Tim said, I could really punch quite well, and that would mean that if there was a puncher's course, I would automatically end up in the front. Whereas, well, if there is a sprinter's course, obviously I could likely stick in the pack, but I was never going to win it because against the men, they have the higher sprint power, which is absolutely fine because I knew that the week after that would be a course more suited to my ability. So for me, I think it's just wonderful, especially for mixed racing. It seems to work way better than the cat enforcement as it is now.
That's an excellent point too. I didn't think about the mixed part of it too because it just reduces us to a number.
So
go on.
So Tim, I think what would someone like me who is trying to rise through the ranks quickly, what is the easiest way to rank up as fast as possible? Set a new 5-minute PR in a race?
In Zwift Racing App?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's the easiest way, probably. Depending on how much you have left between what you currently have as your compound score and what your maximum is.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's just finishing better than expected multiple times in a row.
Yeah, I have a hard time doing that.
Now, Josh, I would like to say that at the bottom of the Zwift Racing App webpage, there is a thing that says "Buy me a coffee." I'm wondering if you maybe hit that a couple times, you could probably maybe increase your score. I don't know. Is that true, Tim? Is that
no, please.
Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, all right. Well, I do encourage
I'm good
everybody.
there. Please don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I had plenty of coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. But okay. Sorry, but that's pretty funny. Okay. So then we have one of the biggest things though too that we talk about that I've and you know when I announced that you were coming on, I got a lot of DMs and a lot of people asking a lot of questions about things. And one of the things, and I know Josh has a lot of questions, and so does Gina, so do I. But one of the things that we talk about, a really great question that was coming up was about well, I mean. Okay, there's a lot of great questions here, but if you had, I know, I'm sorry. What about for sandbaggers? We talk about sandbagging a lot, and we talk about how that's effective because you mentioned it earlier about people riding right below the category. They've got their Garmin sitting there, making sure they don't go over that, and then they try and go off that. Now, can we talk about 2 different ways or 3 different ways? How about how the Zwift category system already does sandbagging, which really isn't much unless we are able to get the cone of shame. You remember that? I don't think they do that anymore. Mm-hmm. And then I've gotten that before by accident, or on purpose actually once, but because I was racing with some people in the lower cat because they had never done a race before, and I'm like, well, let's go with them, and I'm like, well, I got to cover this move, and then boom, I got the cone of shame. But anyway, and then also. How does Zwift Racing App handle that, and then how does ZRS attempt to handle that? However you want.
So the easy one is Zwift Racing Score doesn't have any yet.
Okay.
So we're working through what the best ones would be for that project. Zwift Racing App, there's a few different things. The first one is if you're judged to not have given enough effort during the course of the race, then it just ignores any velo movement. So that one catches a lot of people who unintentionally just join a race as a bit of it like zone 2 effort. I don't know if it's like a route badge that you're looking to get, or there's a lot of valid reasons why you join a race and then don't actually try.
Yeah.
So in those cases, those are ignored. And then the other one that's really effective is this concept of a max 30. So that's specifically for series organizers who want to discourage people to do any score manipulation. ahead of the start of the series, they can use the maximum 30. So the highest your fellow has been in the last 30 days instead of the live value. That way you'd have to spend a month tanking your score. I really don't think you can eliminate all of it. I think what you can do is make it really annoyingly difficult. And then if you do enough, I think the rest of the community kind of accepts that, okay, we're trying to do something to discourage this, but we don't need to spend hundreds of hours figuring it out, because you can still, there's ways around that minimum effort thing. You can like give plenty of effort and then right at the finish line stop and then let everyone pass you. I know that's already happening in cases. So there's really not a whole lot you can do in that case.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, dress the 99%.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty crazy though, that it can stop that. I like that it doesn't move your velo score too. Like if you were to do a zone 2 thing, I like that. That's awesome. All right, and then how about with your conversations with Zwift and everything, and your and how does Zwift Racing Score handle that?
Right now there isn't any
Nothing. I mean nothing
measures in place.
Okay, so
right. We're working through a couple of ideas that are pretty similar to what Zwift Racing App have.
Okay.
Just because it's kind of proven.
Yeah.
So things like the effort.
Okay.
Is really kind of where the focus is going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure got that clear, but yeah, and then okay, cool. All right, and then we've got a lot of questions about. Well, go ahead. Does anybody else have any other questions on that we wanted to go on? Okay. All right. And then what about for you talked about the administration and everything too, and how do people decide which category they're going to use if they are a race category or a race organizers? And do we know what's going to happen with ZRL by chance, or do you know but maybe you can't tell? Like is ZRL going to use ZRS or anything like that?
From what I understand, this is not like insider information, just from seeing what Martin has posted online. I don't think they intend to use it this season.
Right, because that's going to be. I'm excited to see how that will happen, but that would be. That could change every week. Almost right, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that at some point ZRL races are going to be part of Zwift Racing App as well, but Zwift Racing Score, that it will get influenced, because if I understand it correctly, now only compound scores can change because of ZRL. So if you do your best 5 minutes or best 20 minutes or something like that. But I think there's a lot of racers that only do these types of races, which then gives them maybe a false point on the scale.
Okay.
Don't know what you're thinking about that.
Yeah, so Velo has it's disabled for Zwift Racing League, mostly because the points the points aren't applied on Zwift Power, and so the data source for Zwift Racing App is Zwift Power, so the results there aren't accurate. And I don't blame Martin and WTRL at all, because they have like 100 events to update.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's probably just not worth the time and energy. It's a very manual process. So for ones where there are scratch rounds, if people remind me, because I don't do zero, so if people remind me, I can enable Velo for those stages. But yeah, so that's why that they're turned off.
How do you? So one question I had that I see constantly coming up in Facebook chats or Discord or everything else is with the new Zwift Racing Score. The goal was to move away from the ABCD enforcement, and people commonly say, "Oh, I'm in this pen and I'm a D rider and I see B people with me." How are you and everyone else kind of navigating that mindset shift from that original category enforcement to this new methodology?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be some amount of that comparison. I think they could start calling the pen something besides A through E, whether that's 1 to 5 or something. I think that'll help. But yeah, I think there was a lot of this, or some of this, when Velo kind of became a thing, like when Dirt Racing Series started using it, where people would look at the entrance and be like, oh, there's an A in my group. But once they kind of gain some trust in the system, that yeah, sure, that person has an A aerobic capacity, but they just don't have any sprint capability. So that's why they're here. I think it's just a matter of trust, and eventually I stopped seeing that feedback, and I haven't seen people kind of having issues with it. So
yeah, I got to say that the DRS stuff has been absolutely amazing as far as the when that was last summer, I think, right, or this past summer or spring or whenever fall or whenever we were doing that was great. That was the best time, and it wasn't just because I was finally at the top. It was finally, I just felt like I was finally competitive with everybody, like and I still, like, right now I'm placed in B for ZRL, or I'm back down to a C, but I'm still racing in B this last round. And yeah, I was near the bottom, but because I had catted up, and then I catted down, and then I did a cat cow yoga stretch, and then I got back up, and then all that stuff, and it's just been yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It feels good to race up, because that was my goal, was to get back up to B and try and be competitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just such a wide range. And I mean, Josh and I are on the same team. Shout out to Vortex. And Josh, was there? I remember you had mentioned at some time there was a pen that we were in. Wasn't there like 5 or 6 if we went with Velo categories, or the different? I mean, how many people were you? I can't remember what it was you said. Do you remember? It was like there was like 7 different, like almost everybody was represented.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I mean, I think as a testament to Zwift Racing App's accuracy,
Right.
I think we've found pretty consistently the adjusted Velo scores largely reflect where the ZRS finishing standings actually ended up. So I think in one race, can give an example, was expected to finish 17th, finished 17th.
Yeah.
So I got a nice meets expectations report card for that.
Very satisfactory. Yes. Yeah. Good job. Yeah. We should talk about that because people do try. I mean, I always try and beat the computer, whatever it suggests for me to say that. But and Tim, would you like to talk about how Zwift Racing App predicts your score, or is that too much into the weeds, or is it
I can.
For
I'm happy to
terrain
play in the weeds
handicaps
if you
and all
want
that.
to.
Yeah, sure,
yeah.
sure. Let's do that, and then we do need to talk about some other stuff. But if you wouldn't mind, like how it says I'm always going to be last.
So the predictions are depending on the events. If we just assume the event is a scratch race,
Sure. Yeah.
there are these things called terrain handicaps, and that was an effort to give the system more intelligence around how it should expect you to finish. Before it was always just whatever your rank, so whatever your rating was vis-a-vis the other people in your pen, that's what it would expect you to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were the 3rd highest of 10 based on the rating, it would expect you to come 3rd. The issue there is that depending on, contrary to other video games, this is where it gets a lot harder to do this sort of stuff than on like Counter-Strike or Rocket League or any of these other online games, is everybody's body's different. And so what you're capable of is different. So in an effort to mitigate that a little bit, there are these terrain handicaps that, depending on what kind of course it is, it adjusts your event rating. So this is like the rating it uses for that event to accommodate your particular power profile compared to other people around your skill level. So if you tend to be someone who's 15, 30 second is higher than your, as a percentile rank compared to your 5 and 20 minute, then if you're doing a flat course, it expects a little more out of you. Or if you're doing a mountainous course, it expects a little less out of you. So that's just a way for it to kind of accommodate everyone's kind of unique body type. So that's the adjusted Velo application.
Then I
Yeah.
was wondering, because it makes me think of something. There's also a lot of different types of racing. I mean, ladder racing is completely different to what you
Yep.
do in a normal scratch race, or what you do, for instance, in FRR as well, where fatigue also plays a
Mhm.
Yep.
big role. How does that come into play?
I think that is a good opportunity um, in the future. I would I would think like for a ladder context, it would be cool if your team had a rating,
Oh yeah.
and then that is the rating that gets affected in those events or something like that. But yeah, to this point, it's all just kind of one rating. But yeah, there are definitely different types of events that kind of use or stress different parts of your physiological capabilities. So,
Man.
Yeah. I mean, certainly in the ZRAP based pens that I've joined, especially in DRS, it seems pretty spot on with, you know, where I would be expected to finish in a climbing race versus a flat, type course. So either doing better or worse in those.
yeah, because
Yeah,
that's
that
really important to know. Um, like, oh, okay, so I'm kind of picked to do 30th of 40. I'm getting dropped. I feel so badly about this. But then you can find some new carrot to chase to say, okay, I want to try to beat 30th now. Um, so yeah, it's really hard. And I think Zwift is dealing with this is the people that have the expectation to compete every time they play the game. And
Mhm.
it's going to be really impossible to provide that experience to everyone every time. So getting those folks to understand that sometimes you're a hammer, sometimes you're the nail is really going to go a long way towards um, kind of Zwift Racing Score being successful.
But I
I mean,
suppose what they know about category enforcement up until now, these people have been the competitive ones all the time, and the people at the lower end have been at the lower end all the time.
Mhm.
So it
Yep.
will be the people at the lower end that say they will be very happy with the change.
Yeah.
Obviously, the other side of the scale may be more vocal about the change because they don't like not being competitive all the time,
Mhm.
Hmm.
right?
yeah, you're
For
never
sure.
gonna you're never gonna satisfy everyone for sure,
Right.
but
Not
it's
something we need to strive for either, I
yeah.
think,
Yeah. Yeah.
with stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a step in the right direction. I think a lot of people have been asking for, though, is some type of results-based system. And obviously, I
Mhm.
think, Tim, you can attest to it's still kind of in its maybe not in its infancy, but still being worked on and iterated upon. So, I mean, how much tweaking of the methodology for Swift Racing Score do you kind of see in the future now that we've kind of been getting some real world data and results out of it?
Quite a bit. Yeah, I definitely think this is an ongoing project that's going to continue to be iterated on. Um, so I wouldn't have any concerns that it's going to just be left as it is. So yeah, I have meetings every week about it. So there's a long list of things that are prioritized to work on.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, can we? Yeah, let's pivot to that a little bit too. So, so you are the consultant for this too, right? Or how does this
yeah,
work? Or are you you have a cool Zwift beta jersey, and I haven't seen you in game, but do you have a check mark next to your name? You probably do.
I don't. They've
What?
yeah.
Ah,
No,
ah,
I've said no when it's been offered.
okay,
Oh
fair enough.
man,
Yeah,
that would be so cool. That would be a big flex. I don't have a check mark, but yeah,
yeah.
Josh and Gina, you guys don't have check marks, do you?
I
No.
think most
I
people would
don't
be
I
like,
don't know
"Who's
if
this
I
guy?"
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if I would want one either, to be fair. So
Oh
Yeah.
man, I don't know. Yeah, and there's yeah, okay. Anyway, so so they Zwift. Let's go through that a little backstory too, if we can. So
Sure.
you developed the Zwift Racing app, and it was awesome, and everything it is awesome. Excuse me. And then Zwift came to you to help with this, or can you talk a little bit about that, please, for our listeners?
Yeah, so after the original implementation that didn't get received very well, that was based on Zwift Power Rankings, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, I think there was enough commentary on forums and everywhere else that they ought to buy a Zwift Racing app or work with me or whatever, that eventually I did kind of start talking with Flint McInnes,
Mm-hmm.
who was kind of in charge of that project at the time.
Yeah.
So we started talking on a regular basis and going through, talking about how things ought to be, et cetera, et cetera. So at a certain point, it kind of became necessary for that to be like a formal relationship. So we worked through all that silly stuff. And then, so since December of last year, I've been on as a consultant. So I'm not doing any development at this point, just a lot of analysis, advice giving, collating of feedback from the Discord. So there's like a specific feedback channel on my Discord where people kind of very passionate Zwifters talk through, what it is they want to see, and then kind of helps me inform what focus or where the focus should be and that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So you did a
Discord.
So you did a good job on collating all that feedback. It looks like as you said, a lot of passionate individuals having ideas, which is always good. It's always good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's one thing I would encourage more of is just open communication with the player base. There's a lot of smart people, so with a lot of good ideas. So take advantage of it.
Yeah. And sorry, I thought Gina was going to say something. Sorry, no, sorry. It looked like you were going to say something. Okay, anyway, so so that's amazing. And so then when they asked them, when you said like, oh yeah, they should buy a Zwift Racing app, you said Zwift Racing app is not for sale except for $1 million. Did you do that at all? Or I would say something like that, but
no, those, yeah, I don't know. That never was really a conversation.
Oh, okay.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, and it's none of my business. But that would be something else. So, man, for $1 million. But no, that'd be awesome. But
I think they had a negative experience from like prior sort of purchases of that regard. So I think they wanted to avoid that. So
that's fair.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And then, and the fact that they brought you on, I mean, obviously this is I think we're all in agreement here that this is probably the best categorization system. And it's not hard to like get into either. I mean, you just go to the website, ZwiftRacing.App, and you go in there and you find yourself and you log in with Strava or log in with your email.
Yeah, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, and it's
that's right. Yeah.
Sorry, Dustin, your mic is doing strange things. Yeah. Or is that just me?
It might be.
No, it's definitely cutting out.
Oh, it is? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it is.
Good.
So
okay.
I just wanted to say, like, just knowing you, Tim, were also consulting on the Zwift Racing Score, it actually made me believe in it. I know it's a work in progress, and I know changes will still need to be made, but I also believe that if we start racing with this system, that these changes are going to be made, and it's only going to get better and better and better. Not saying that it will be as good as Zwift Racing App, because I've loved that up until now, and it's for me it's delivered some very spectacular and fair racing series. But yeah, I do trust the process, and I believe in the thing that Zwift is trying to do here. So it will be very nice to see how it develops.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for it. I agree. I think Velo is still a better system than the current iteration of Zwift Racing Score. One thing that I had as an advantage was that no one really knew about it when it was at this level of its development comparatively. So like definitely a lot of stuff has changed since that initial kind of release that I made in the dark mostly. So but yeah, I think the people I work with are definitely on board with doing whatever is needed. I don't think they're married to any of their conversations or decisions they've made to get to this point either. So it's all about reacting to feedback and seeing the real world data as compared to a lot of the theoretical stuff that kind of was the majority of the focus of the analysis that I did a lot of with them in the spring when we were kind of fine tuning what the seed formula ought to be, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, appreciate that they put this results-based system out there in the first place to everyone to then be iterated on, because this obviously, like Gina said, I think it gives me confidence that you're part of the consulting team on this.
Yeah, 100%. If Tim's on board, then it's got to be good. Yeah.
Yeah,
this is great.
Speaking of that, from a admin standpoint, I mean, you said it yourself. This kind of started. This project might have started small, but now is pretty large. A lot of people use it. A lot of people love seeing their scores go up or down. Where do you find the drive to kind of continue working on this, and what do you hope the future kind of holds for ZRAP?
I'm not really sure. I'm still sort of figuring that out. Um, yeah, I definitely want to keep it up and active as long as people are interested. I am working on something new that I am not ready to talk about yet, but
no tea spilled yet.
No.
yeah. So if you look at the header of Zwift Racing App, it definitely says beta there.
Yeah.
So it was never meant to be a like full release product. So I would say a lot of the development I did for it was quick and haphazard, just to get it out there and kind of see if it worked or not. So yeah, there's something new coming that is going to hopefully marry a lot of stuff together.
Oh, we're on a cliffhanger.
Do we have a title? Do you have a title at least? Is Zwift Racing App with 3 P's? No.
Yeah, I do have a title, but yeah, I don't want to give anything away just yet because I think people could probably find it if I did that.
That's fair.
I can give you some sneak peeks. I'll give some screenshots.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll put them in there. And and if you haven't, if you are interested in this, you can definitely join Tim's Discord. If you look at Zwift Racing App, there is a join the Discord on there too. And there are a lot of very passionate people about this. And yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome that you yourself, Tim, would take it upon yourself to make this, and that there's so many people that are willing to help if they can and everything too. This is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By and large, a lot of the stuff there. Those aren't my ideas. Like the compound score modification, that's not mine. I developed it, but it was the output of a long thread on Discord about how the existing compound score didn't seem to be working for people, of a certain weight ranges. So I think a lot of those people deserve most of the credit.
And I know you talked about this a little bit earlier, but why didn't Zwift just go with what you're doing? They had some different reasons for that. I mean, I don't know. It seems to be working so well. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hopeful that their implementation is going to get there.
Okay.
But yeah, it would have been a lot quicker maybe to go a different route, but
it was too expensive. $1 million is too much.
Exactly.
$1 million in a Zwift ride wasn't going to cut it.
I still have a day job.
Yeah. And our because I know this is an algorithm, right? Is that just for my own edification? Are algorithms like, can you copyright an algorithm or patent an algorithm, or how does that work?
Probably. I'm not. The source code is closed, so that's the only protection I'm really taking at this point. And that's mostly to avoid people taking it to other platforms and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Did you print it all out and everything too? Back when I was a computer science major, way back when we had to program in C and everything, or we went to C, then we went to C++. Anyway, long story short, we had to print out our programs. And like, why are we printing out our programs? Nobody wants to see this. And like, run it and it works, or it doesn't work, right? Oh man, I used to put ASCII pictures in mine and to see if like of Snoopy and stuff, and to see if anybody would look at it, and like nobody did anything. It was all on green bar.
Nice.
Do you guys remember that green bar paper?
No,
I'm old.
No, man, you're aging. You're aging
yeah,
yourself.
I know. Well, that was the thing when we had to like send our. It doesn't matter. There's this huge printer, anyway. Okay. Well, some people out there are going to listen to this and they're going to remember that what the VAX 2 systems were and stuff. Anyway, okay. Definitely getting way out there. Okay. So yeah, because something like a Zwift Racing App could handle this scale already, couldn't it? Yeah.
And it already does.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, it is. Right. Yeah, it already is. Oh man. Yep. Well, so I think we got to all my questions, and we got to. Oh wait, there's one more question I have here too, which is kind of something that we've already talked about here. But we've already talked about this. But in hindsight, if where would we be if we went in the Wayback Machine and think about this? What if we had been using Zwift Racing, the Zwift Racing app, for example? Where would we be now? People would still be upset with how they finished in a particular race? We're always going to have people complain, I guess. But where would we be if we had the power of hindsight and started with this? What would be different now, I guess?
I mean, I think the categorization would be improved.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is that you're still bound to 5 pens.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even if you took Velo and, split it into 5, 5 groups,
Yeah.
I think you're still going to have issues of people either being not competitive or, things like that. So I think that's irregardless of whatever you choose as your categorization method, so I think that's another thing. The events team at Zwift, it's largely up to them, these sorts of things, but I've been pestering them quite a bit about ideas I have to mitigate that problem, because I think you'll get a lot better reviews on the current Zwift Racing Score if you can have some kind of unique ideas to approach that in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that just related to perhaps tighter spreads on Zwift Racing scores, or just more populated pens in some way?
Yeah, so I kind of have the belief that you don't need to provide a pen for every player for every event. I think you could have, so I kind of have this idea of splitting the 1 to 1,000 into 3 groups. So you have a community level and then advanced and elite. So if you could provide community level racing on the hour, like with Z Racing or whatever, but then have like an advanced or elite race a few times a day, that gives those sort of riders a targeted place to go, knowing that they're going to be other people of a similar fitness level to them. But then that allows you to have narrower focused bands in these community level races to improve that stuff. Because right now I think it's just too wide, like the 350 to 520 or whatever it is. In my view, it's too wide. I did a lot of analysis on what score delta leads to what percentage of you beating that person, and really the threshold. If you want to say, like, what would you guys say is a fair, if you were to compare the person at the bottom of the pen range with the person at the top of the pen range, what percentage chance of beating that person would you say is needed for it to be considered fair?
Ooh, I don't know.
Oh,
Like 25%?
yeah.
25%?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, 25% might still be high, but it kind of depends on like lower bands or upper bands too, in my view. But
Yes. Right. So to get that 25%, you need to be somewhere in the area of like 100 to 125 ranges instead of 170 or whatever it is now in the middle. So anyway, lots of boring analysis.
But no,
that's Google spreadsheets I can share.
Yeah,
I find it interesting. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Gina and Josh are more into numbers than I am, but they know more about this stuff than I do. But this is just incredible, though. Man. Yeah. Yeah, but it's so interesting though, because even though we're still people. Like if all 4 of us were to race, I would be last, but then you guys would all duke it out for who would be. Gina would probably win. Sorry to spoil
probably.
that, but Gina would win, and then and then we'd go through all this stuff. But so between second and third, that would be an excellent thing too. So to watch, but it's just it's so hard because people are, like you said, they're different, and they could have more caffeine like me, and maybe do super well on a day, right? And yeah,
Heart rate through the roof.
Heart rate through the roof. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. But yeah, this is excellent, Tim. I'm so thankful for you for coming on to do this and to talk about this, and to even doing this for our community and everything too. Gina, Josh, or Tim, do you guys have any other questions or anything that you'd like to talk about?
always, but I think this is enough for a day, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
feel the
yeah.
same.
Oh man, yeah. This is great. So so Tim, thank you so much for coming on, and this has just been awesome. Do you have any shout outs you want to give out to anybody?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I don't have anything prepared. Everyone in the
Oh,
Discord
Yeah, your
yeah,
mod
that
your mod team.
participates.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Gordon and Alex. Yeah, definitely do. So Alex Eames is moderators, and he, in the absence of DRS for right now, he has this series called Cyclopathon, I think you would pronounce it.
Yeah.
And it's Tuesdays using a pretty narrow range of Zwift Racing Score buckets. So I think right now he's month to month going from 300 to 700, and then the next month 350 to 750. And so kind of moving it around to make sure that you're not always at the top, bottom, middle of the range. So yeah, join those because that's where I'm at on Tuesdays.
I've had some positive feedback on that series in the coalition Discord. So
Yeah. And that's awesome
Yeah, right.
too.
Yeah,
Go
right
ahead.
now there's no US time zone for that because there wasn't enough people. But yeah, let's get a US time zone going for that.
Yeah, let's
would
go.
be happy to.
Yeah, we did it for ladder, and that was great because there was no ladder. There was no ladder in our time zone, at least in the evenings at all. And then we were able to get that going too. And that I think that's actually helped out a lot, bringing ladder to our time zone, the Middle West or whatever you want to call it. U.S. based, whatever. Sorry, I've had too much
Middle West.
caffeine. Middle West, yes, in
I've
the
never
Middle
heard Middle
West.
West before.
Over here in the Middle West. Well, we're not the Far East, I guess, or not the Far West. Whatever. Anyway, we're in the Middle West. Okay, so again, yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, definitely we'll put a link to the Discord and everything as well. And Tim, thank you again so much. This is awesome. Thank you to all those listening to our
Anytime.
podcast. Oh yeah, thank you. And thank you to Josh and Gina for doing this. If you have questions, comments, recipe ideas, please join the Watopian Weekly Discord server or send us an email as well. Tim, do you have a spot for recipes on your Discord server or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay,
We
we'll
should
definitely
do
get
that.
that. Yeah, definitely, because get some recipes and algorithms and everything. Because I mean, recipes are just algorithms. Go ahead. What were we gonna say?
Do you have any recipes that kids will eat?
Yes.
Where we're struggling with.
Those waffles are really good. Your kids will eat them.
Yes.
Yeah.
The waffles. I'll send you that recipe. Yeah, my daughter is very finicky as well, or picky or whatever, and she'll eat the waffles. I will say that those of us who are in the United States, and do you remember Butterfingers? Everybody remember Butterfingers? Okay, so Butterfingers used to. Gina, do you have Butterfingers in the Netherlands or?
I think so. I'll Google.
Yeah. Okay, so Butterfingers made popular by Bart Simpson, and I know we're going off on a little bit of a tangent, but don't lay a finger on my Butterfinger. However, they changed the recipe because they used to be, I think Nestle owned them or somebody owned them, I don't know, but then Ferrara bought them and they changed their recipe. So
Wow.
So there's
I
not.
didn't know that.
Oh man, go get one today, and
Okay.
and then see what you think. I know last time we talked about junk food too. By the way, I know, and all the different the ding dongs and the Twinkies and the ho hos and everything. But by the way, Gina wants to talk about ding dongs a little bit later too, because she was watching the. Oh man, we're getting way too off the topic. But all right, so getting back to the Butterfinger. So the Butterfinger, and Josh, you probably remember this from when you would go trick or treating and everything, and the little fun size things, like perfect, right? And now the fun size has even gotten smaller. And
Travesty.
yeah, I know. Either I've gotten bigger or the fun size has gotten smaller. Either way, they don't taste the same way they used to taste. Now, this isn't just me being an old person saying, candy isn't like it was when I was a kid. Yeah, but
Yeah, you walked uphill both ways to school, right?
Yeah, in the snow up to my knees. But but anyway, if you get make that waffle recipe that I'm gonna send you, and then put some peanut butter on your waffle, and then put some maple syrup. And I like maple syrup, but if you get like something that's like the synthetic syrup, like Log Cabin, or or maybe the other stuff, like just this says pancake syrup. That's even better because it's more artificial, but it tastes like an old-timey Butterfinger.
Interesting.
To answer your question to me, no, I don't know Butterfingers, but I have found a YouTube video explaining how to make your Butterfingers at home.
Because that crispity crunchity thing, the stuff in the middle, whatever that's made out of, that flaky stuff, I don't know how you would even make that. But, well, anyway, okay. But yes.
I'll put this in the recipe thread. Maybe
Yes.
they taste the same as the ones that were there when you were younger.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I wonder how hard it is. How long is the video, Gina? Because maybe that'll give us
20 minutes.
50 minutes? 50?
20.
Oh, 20. Okay, 20. I can make something for 20 minutes. But Tim, I will share my
Oh, 10. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll share
Even
share
better.
my gluten-free recipe for you. They're great. They're gluten-free. They're cruelty-free. They're really good. Waffles are amazing. I like them. They're like pancakes with abs, which we talked about last time, Josh. Josh, what about you? Do you have any recipes you want to share? Anything?
No, I'm good.
Gina, did you have anything you wanted to share with the recipes or anything? Or
Recipes, no, but is it time for ding dongs then?
yeah.
Shouldn't you have like a hot dish recipe prepared, Dustin?
Ooh, yes, we do have a hot dish recipe, I'm sure. But see, okay, so I'm originally from Illinois, and I know we're trying to close out the episode, but I'm originally from Illinois, so we talk about casseroles and where I'm from. And Tim, do you guys have casseroles in Iowa, or is it hot dish?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely not hot dish.
No, it's not hot dish, but there's a gravel race up here called Hot Dish, by the way. And have you
What
been to
the
that
heck
one?
do we mean with hot dish?
No.
I know some of our listeners are likely asking themselves the same question.
Okay, do you want the folklore answer, or do you want the actual answer? I'll do both.
Both.
Okay, Josh, do you know what a hot dish is, or you're Googling it right now?
I have no comment.
Okay, so a casserole is like a casserole, and the word casserole is because it's a casserole dish that you put in the oven. Like we would say tater tot casserole. Oh my gosh, I've been in Minnesota too much. Tater tot hot dish is what you would have, I guess, where it's like tater tots and then like cream mushroom soup, I think, and I think there's a hamburger in there, right?
Oh my
yeah.
God, I did Google
Green
it.
beans,
Yeah, maybe some green beans and stuff in there, and then
canned green beans.
canned green beans. It can't be fresh because it won't taste right. And then in the later years, after they had those, those like dried green beans too, you could put those on top too. I don't know if you've had those, but yeah. So that is a great recipe too. But tater tot hot dish is the same thing as tater tot casserole. Essentially, now I'm going to get some people yelling at me in the comments for that, because a hot dish is different from a casserole, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, what's the difference? And I think it comes down to the actual shape of the pan, I believe, because there's a hot dish pan and there's a casserole dish.
Interesting.
But then the hot dish is a casserole pan. No, I don't know. I'm gonna.
See, for me, if you say hot dish, I'm just thinking about food that is made hot.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the plate
Yep.
is a high temperature.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
the stuff on the plate is a high temperature.
Yeah. When I first came here to the land of 10,000 lakes, they would say like, "Yeah, do you want some of this tater tot hot dish?" What is that? Can I do I need do I need gloves to hold on to it? Because it's so hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely have to put some hot dish things. But I'm a vegetarian, so I'll have to do some vegetarian hot dishes. Actually, there's actually one that we make that's enchiladas. But it's an enchilada. It's an enchilada casserole, but it's like chili rellenos. Have you had chili rellenos before? Oh, they're so good. But this is the vegan version of that, and it's in you put it in the oven and everything. It's amazing. I should.
Oh my God, it's getting closer and closer to dinner time here, and
Yes,
you guys
I'm
are
sorry.
making me hungry.
Yeah, okay. All right, with that, we'll close the episode. I'm sorry, we tried to close about 20 minutes ago. So again, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all in Watopia.
Oh, and the Dutch word of the day?
Oh, yes.
Doei.
What does that mean?
Goodbye.
Perfect.